What's going on, field level family? It's your man Pat, joined by my usual suspects. Y'all know what it is. I got Quan over there to the right. I got CT down there below. How y'all doing today, brothers? Y'all good?
Solid, man. Good to be back.
Good to be
Doing
back.
great.
Hey,
Doing great.
hey, y'all peep how we over here real coordinated with the black shirts though. Did not even plan that.
No email sent.
No email sent, man. Real coordinated, man. As y'all can see, dude, I'm in a whole nother location, bro. I'm in the bed. I'm in the bed tonight, man. Field level family, man. Your man had that good old surgery yesterday, bro. So I'm over here, partially high off Norcos. To be honest with you. Hey, but somebody says the show must go on, man. The show must go on, man. So field level family, we're excited to be back with you all. Have you all once again. Hey, y'all. Week 1 is in the books. It's in the books, man. We've had a great time being able to kind of get back to football, man. I think this has been one of the most exciting weeks of the year. You know, this year's come with so much crap that I was just excited to get back to football, man.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Like big time. And I think that this is something that a lot of people were excited to get back to be able to really get back into the groove of, you know, this is a football game. Wow, they're actually playing. And if I must say so myself, it was kind of odd that there wasn't any fans. But if you really kind of like low key think about it, whenever you're actually watching a game, you never really see the fans.
Right.
Just
Good
off
point,
of the
good
sheer
point.
camera angles, right? Like when you're on camera angles, like they don't just really pan the crowd like that unless it's like a score or something like that. It's normally that angle that's like that bird eye view that kind of like
Yeah.
leans down and kind of sees the field. So that was cool. But with all that being said, man, let's jump right into tonight's show. I'm excited about it because you know we here, man. Like we're in the thick of things now. So let's jump right in on tonight. The topic number one up for discussion tonight, man. If you guys don't know, it seems like the 49ers can't catch a break. Every week somebody's hurt. And as we talked about on our recap show on Sunday night, the 49ers wide receivers just didn't do the job. You know, combined as a receiving core for 4 catches, 41 yards, it just isn't going to work. I kind of went back and reevaluated the game a little bit when it was over. And I must say, Jimmy didn't have a horrible game. He missed on a couple throws, couple key throws. I must say he missed on some pivotal moments. He missed on, but for the most part, it wasn't a terrible outing. But we got to do better at getting open. I remember one play in particular where there was like a scramble drill that went on, and I legit saw Kendrick Bourne like literally stop his route. Like no getting back into the eyesight of the quarterback, no working back to the ball, like legit just stopped his route. And I was like, wow, that hurt. So with that being said, I think the Niners made a smart move on this week. They went out and signed veteran wide receiver Mohamed Sanu, which I think was a huge grab. Not so much for his talent, but more so for a veteran presence in that locker room. A veteran presence with that wide receiver group. I think that you saw that wide receiver group on last year take a step in the right direction when Emmanuel Sanders came, and he was a veteran guy who kind of taught the Debos and the Kendricks and those guys how to be a pro. And I think that you saw the uptick in production when they had a veteran guy in the room. I think that Mohamed Sanu brings that same thing. I seen a clip today, guys, where I believe it was Calvin Ridley sitting on the bench, and Mohamed Sanu walked over and was just talking to him and was like, "You're special. You're going to be a great talent. Keep working, going." This is in the middle of the game. And I think that to have a guy like that on the sideline, one also who knows Shanahan's offense and can be an instant help in understanding the zones, understanding where to sit it down, where to take it up, where just understanding all the nuances of what can be as a wide receiver in that offense. I think that this was a great sign. A lot of people are mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. We don't have receivers. What are we mad at? You know what I mean? Like let's go out and get a guy who can give us some production. So CT, I want to start off with you tonight. How do you feel about the Mohamed Sanu signing to the Niners?
I feel good about it. I wanted him last year, to be honest with you. I'm not complaining about Emmanuel. Emmanuel was a great presence for the team. If you remember in training camp, they were talking about, Kendrick Bourne essentially was the senior in the room. And I thought that was crazy. He's the veteran mentor, and he's arguably the most goofiest one of them all. And I mean that in a good way. He's got good energy for the team, but you do need somebody that's a little bit more serious and can really dive into what the players need to know, the nuances of the game that have made, a guy like Mohamed Sanu successful in the past. And if you have somebody like that in your room, you always stand a better chance that way. That might be too much pressure for Kendrick Bourne. Let him be free and play the game the way he plays it. Let him be a presence, but not necessarily that veteran presence. And this allows us to do so. So I think it's going to be a great move for the team overall.
No, definitely agree with that. Definitely agree. I think that you free up, man, what was that? Was it Chuck E. Cheese or Toys R Us where a kid can be a kid? Let those youthful guys go out there, be a kid and play football. But then also because when you give Kendrick Bourne the responsibility of being the veteran presence, I think you take away the essence of what he also brings. Right. His youthfulness, his exuberance, his, the kind of goofy guy, like you said, Quan, you being a former wide receiver, just a guy that likes the position. How did you feel about a guy like Mohamed Sanu coming in and what do you feel like he can immediately give and what kind of impact can he make with the Niners?
I feel he can make an immediate impact. You touched on that. Him and Shanahan have history from their time in Atlanta. How he was, those are some of his most productive moments. I know a lot of people probably don't even remember Mohamed Sanu was on the Bengals first.
Right.
So it was just good to see him go to Atlanta when he was there and do his thing. And I also have, here at the fear level, we have some numbers.
Give out the numbers, Quan. Drop the numbers.
I'm going to just say this, man. I'm not going to give you the particular, but when Sanu was in Atlanta, he was there for, I believe, 4 years. The last year he was there, ultimately until he got traded to New England, he was dealing with an ankle injury. But before that, he was averaging for those 3 years prior over 10 yards a clip. He was had over, I think, 5 touchdowns each year, and his yards went up. It went from 500 1 year, 600 1 year, then 800 the year before he got hurt. And obviously, you know why it's not over 1,000 because Julio's getting all that money. And then when they drafted Ridley, that kind of cut into his production, but it made it just easier for. So that veteran presence that CT talked about, it is going to be very well appreciated in that locker room. He's going to be able to come in and honestly, you guys need him to make an impact immediately, even on the field, just from the standpoint of we talk about how Jimmy might not have the trust in his receivers at this point. Maybe in Bourne in certain situations because he was your red zone guy last year, but overall, he may not have that trust. So now he has somebody, even though he doesn't know him like that, he has someone that Shanahan trusts. And if Shanahan puts that stamp on him, then Jimmy's going to most definitely be able to throw him the ball and be comfortable with that. Also, real quick, I looked at the depth chart that you guys have going in. These teams update their depth chart weekly depending on what's going on. And right now it says Kendrick Bourne and Dante Pettis are starting.
Right.
So I know I'm not really worried about Bourne in that sense. And I know you guys may not think he's a number 2, but you're not really super worried about him. But Pettis, we worried.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Pettis
he's much needed.
0 catches last week with 1 target, and I don't think it's because anybody's hating on him. I think he just wasn't getting open. You know what I mean?
And even in that 1 target, he probably should have. You can say it's uncatchable, but he also didn't put out good effort on tape. He could have dove for that and at least tried. Maybe got a PI. He was doubled. He might have got a PI. You never know.
Right, and I think the one thing that we kind of also have to look at when we talk about Mohamed Sanu making an immediate impact is the issue of COVID protocols, right? So he got signed, what was that, yesterday?
Yeah.
He won't be able to practice with the team until Friday, and that's a walkthrough.
Right. So
all he has right now basically is meetings, sitting down, trying to catch the nuances of the playbook, and then he's in the fire. So I don't even really honestly know how much he'll actually play with just a Friday walkthrough. On the other side of that, you know what I mean? So that's kind of something to look at.
That's a good point, yeah.
On the other side of that, getting into these injuries, George Kittle might not play.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan has already came out and said, he's not going to practice at all this week. If I had to be a betting man, would I bet that George Kittle would play? Probably, just because off of the warrior that he is. But if not, I talked on Sunday night to you guys about how I was very disappointed with the snap count on Jordan Reed. He's going from I looked. He had a 10-play snap count. in the entirety of that game. He had a 10-play snap count, and that's not going to. If you want him at this point, if George Kittle doesn't play, he's going to have to play. You know what I mean? And it's hard going from a 10-play snap count to playing a complete full game. I mean, I'm sure Ross Dwelley will hop in there. I'm also interested to see how Warner looks, the other tight end, the rookie we got. But this is going to be a situation where it's kind of like, yo, what's going on here? Like, how do you guys feel? I think that George Kittle, he'll probably play. But then on top of that, the 49ers right now are the most injured team in football.
What else is
facts?
New?
They are the most injured team in football, which is kind of crazy to think about. You got a guy like Richard Sherman at this point, who's out at least 3 weeks being put on the IR protocol. And I kind of had leaked that to you guys earlier that morning where I was like, hey, he's in a walking boot before it even came out. And then now comes out, here goes Akello Witherspoon, who's in concussion protocol. So legitimately, your starting corners for this game might be Manuel Mosley and Dante Johnson. Yeah.
So real quick, we talked about Tim Harris Jr. earlier.
And he's on IR.
Injury. So the crazy part is he sustained a calf injury on Friday. Isn't that walkthrough day?
Yeah. He was walking mighty fast.
Right.
Hey, you know what?
That's something that's crazy. I mean, like, what do you like? These guys are the most injured team in football. I'm sorry, Quan, go ahead.
No, you know what? The silver lining in all of this, with all the injuries, you guys are playing the perfect team to be injured on, though. You're playing the Jets, and their starting receivers are going to be, unless Denzel Mims plays, the rookie wide receiver, but he was dealing with 2 hammies. But their starting receivers are going to be Crowder in the slot, which you have K'Wan Williams, who's going to do his thing there. You have Brashard Perryman, who came over from, I believe it was the Browns.
Oh, Browns, yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of had a bounce back year there, but he's there. And then I think Chris Hogan is the other starting receiver. So, I mean, if you're going to have –
Hogan's the best receiver on their squad right now.
Hey, big fact. So I think this is a good game where you're going to have Dante Johnson come off, practice squad and be thrust into a nice role unless Akello can kind of clear the protocol before his game day. And then also with what our boy Juan said in the chat with the scramble drills, he called for that. They're going to have to look at some Green Bay film because Aaron Rodgers is the best with his team in the scramble drill. It's like a second plate when he scrambles. So they're going to have to take a page out of their book. But I don't know, man. These injuries are tough. You're absolutely right, Pat.
I think that kind of frustrated me the most, being a coach myself. When you looking on film and you see like Jimmy Garoppolo literally breaks pocket, rolls out to the right, and everyone stops moving. I'm like, yo, what do we coach him up? Coach West, you better get on that man line. Like, we gotta fix that, and we gotta fix that fast. So interested to see how that looks. I do believe that the 49ers they do have a perfect opponent, but then also, is there really a perfect opponent in the NFL any given Sunday?
That is true.
Any given Sunday. I want to jump in real quick with you guys. One thing I will say is that week 1 offered a lot of surprises. Also offered a lot of letdowns. So I want to go through a segment right now called Surprises and Letdowns. For me, I have 2 surprises that I wanted to kind of deal with. I actually have 3 surprises I wanted to deal with. Shout out to CT. CT did his due diligence and came out from jump and just told us how effective Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be. I didn't believe him. I kind of threw some crap on him a little bit. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a huge surprise for me. I knew he was a decent running back, but for him to come out and kind of move the way that he did not realize he was as compact as he is. He's a little guy, I mean, he's not a big guy at all. He's almost like, when I looked at him, that body type was very Darren Sproles-ish to me. Like he was very compact, low to the ground, but ran, with a nice lot of good authority behind the pads. Ran behind his pads. Did an awesome job of leaning forward. Great one step, one cut, get out of there and go. So he was a huge surprise to me. Keeping that running back, keeping that running back style of surprise. Josh Jacobs. I mean, I knew he was a good back, man, but but it was, as he got into the end zone that last time and did that 1-2-3, he was balling. So definitely want to shout out Josh Jacobs. He did an awesome job. Big surprise for me. But I do believe, and this is no slight at all, that offense has to give a little bit more, because if they're able to spread out the defenses a little bit more with Ruggs and those guys on the outside, he can be even more effective. And I think that's a very scary thing to do. My last surprise, which I actually kind of thought this, that's why I picked him up in fantasy. I thought Noah Fant was going to have a leap year this year. In year 2, I thought Noah Fant was going to be top 10. I had him slotted being a top 10 tight end in the league this year.
Wow.
I think that Noah Fant came out and didn't solidify it, but took a step in the right direction. I expected a little bit more from Drew Lock, but when he did seek out Fant ran hard. Fant had great routes, had great speed after the catch, run after the catch. If you watched him, that man turned up a lot after the catch. And my biggest letdown, if I could say one, was the 49ers defensive line. Did not really get to Kyler Murray how I thought they should have. Defoe definitely was missed as a presence. And for me, honestly, and this is just me being completely transparent, the defensive line just looked different to me. Like their look last year was very intimidating. It was very scary. But this year, their look just looked a little more like we're going to bend a lot more this year. I hope that that's not the truth, but it's definitely something that I was kind of like, I'm very surprised on how they came out. The other surprise I had, and I guess this is my last one, or the other letdown I had, this is my last one here. I just felt like, I don't know if it was because of the Jerry Jeudy and the KJ Hamler pickup, and then Cortland Sutton didn't play, but I don't think the Denver Broncos wide receiver room is as good as we think. Outside of those guys, outside of those guys, outside of Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, who the jury is still kind of out on a little bit, it isn't like a huge, like, oh my God, it's Cortland Sutton kind of deal. Tim Patrick, it's like those guys they're not nothing to write home about. So definitely was one of my letdowns was the receiver room for the Denver Broncos. Quan, on you, man.
Before I get into mine, you know what? We're gonna have to respectfully disagree about the Cortland Sutton. I think he's here. Now, I think you don't hear a lot about him because he played on the Broncos last year, and the Broncos weren't very good record-wise. And when you're not good record-wise, it's hard to really get any recognition anyway. Right. But I think he's here. He made the Pro Bowl. He went over 1,000 yards. He outdid his rookie season by every metric. So, and that's big when Emmanuel Sanders was the guy there. He leaves, and then you have to pick it up with a rookie quarterback because Joe Flacco got hurt early. So I think he's here. But anyway, it's besides the point. I'm going to stay in Denver, though. One of my surprises was their rookie cornerback out of Iowa. I hope I get his last name right. Michael Ojemudia.
Ogunjobudia, yeah.
Yeah. If I got it wrong, I'm just going to say Michael O. I was very surprised. If you look at the stat line for him, it doesn't look impressive. Two tackles. He got an interception in the game, but it got called back, so I guess it wasn't an interception. But when you watch the game, he played absolutely phenomenal for a first game, thrust into the starting role, and either receiver he had to guard is legitimate. AJ Brown is legitimate. Corey Davis, to some people, he's on and off, but I think he's a pretty legitimate receiver. He's just not AJ Brown. And he did his thing. He was physical.
7 catches, 100-some yards. He was balling though.
Yeah. He definitely had his game. But I'm just surprised because he got thrusted in there, and when you watch the style of play, I think that's what did it for me. The style of play, the aggressiveness in his coverages. When he came up to tackle, he came up and tackled big, and it was big really for me because the corners that have been coming out of Iowa lately, that have been getting drafted early, have not been panning out. So I put him in a box mentally already when they drafted him that he wasn't going to be very good. Mm-hmm. So I'm very glad to see him do well. One of my I'll just get to my letdowns because my letdowns are pretty bad. I'm gonna stick with you, Pat. You mentioned the D line. I'm gonna stick out one. D Ford.
Oh yeah, non-existent.
He's looking like a waste of money.
Yeah.
Now it's one game. You guys are the Niner guys, so I know y'all can speak to it more than I can. It's only one game, but when you go back to last year, you guys mentioned when he did play, he was and then he's always hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, we paying you all this money. I can go out and get somebody else who's going to give me no sacks and give me maybe a tackle or two. I can go get somebody on cheap and do that.
Right.
So hopefully he pans out.
But I think that was a bad game for him too, because the style of quarterback Kyler Murray is, and then when you look at that and the style of football D Ford plays, D Ford is a straight up field pass rusher, getting upfield fast, and Kyler Murray will dip back underneath, step up in the pocket, and dip underneath you and make you look silly. So I think that played
could be true as well. But I will say this: when you think of him and Nick Bosa, right, they're both pretty athletic linebacker / DN hybrids, right? I mean, Bosa's, but they're both considered athletic. So when I see on one side Bosa's motor running crazy, he may not always get to Kyler because of all the things you just mentioned about Kyler, but he's putting pressure on Kyler. He's touching Kyler. He's making him, hurry up. I don't see D4 doing none of that. And I know he's not seeing double teams anymore because Bosa's doing that.
Right.
So I need to see more from him. And then my other letdown is Tyrod Taylor. Now, they got the win. But I remember it was a couple episodes ago, CT, you mentioned that Tyrod, quote unquote, leaves a lot of meat on the bone.
Yep.
What am I supposed to do with 16 completions out of 30 attempts for 208 yards? Like, you got the win, and it's one game, but you're a veteran and you've been in the system for a year now. So I would, and you have all your weapons fully loaded. I would hope that you can put out a little bit more production than that. But we'll see how this progresses. It's only one game, but those are my letdowns right now.
CT, man, it's on you, man. Give us those surprises and letdowns, brother.
Got you. I'll start with the surprises, and it kind of goes with Quan's letdowns with the Chargers and the Bengals game. We talked about, Cincinnati, and I said Joe Burrow showed a lot of grit in that game. I'm going to be honest. I checked out the rest of that game, and they should have won. It could have even tied the game. The kicker missed a field goal to tie the game. Joe Burrow put them in a position to win. And seeing a young quarterback with that type of poise, like you mentioned, Pat, the other day on Sunday, talking about that scramble, for a touchdown he put together, dude showed a lot. And I was very surprised with what the Bengals put out. Joe Mixon played well. They got some pieces, some young pieces that are really interesting for the future. The other surprise was what happened with Philly and the Washington football team. Chase Young looked good. I mentioned him as a potential defensive rookie of the year candidate. There you go. All right. But I was impressed with their defense overall. Character, they got some really nice pieces that really play well, seem to gel. Del Rio is a good defensive coordinator. He may not be a great head coach, but he can coach that defense. So they have some good pieces. I'd be really interested to see how their defense performs this year. Letdowns. Cowboys.
The whole team. Okay.
Yeah, overall. I mean, I thought they would be a little bit more potent. They do have some different weapons that they can utilize, and they do have some time with Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator to kind of dive in. But maybe his inexperience as a coordinator may take longer for them to gel and figure things out. You're going to need more out of Dak Prescott, so we'll see how that goes. The other one obviously came from the 49ers. The receivers were a problem. Jimmy's timing was a problem. Some of the scheme and defensive prowess was a problem. So there were some areas that really concerned me. I do feel a little bit better going into this week, but you can't sleep on any team. So I want to see what they put together. And then also Mozart, is fortunate enough he's going to have his second child pretty soon. I don't know if he's going to miss a game, so that's something to consider. But, happy for him, and obviously do what you need to do for your family. But I know his presence is definitely needed at this time. So, hopefully they'll be able to figure it out.
Oh, no, man, I'm kind of cynical. I kind of want him to miss the game. I want to see that. I want to see Jerick McKinnon be the featured back and see what happens.
Whoa.
That's a win-win.
Cynical in that. I'm kind of cynical in that regard, man. I not to mention I got Jared Buchanan starting this week in fantasy, so definitely.
Now we see why.
Definitely would love to see that, man. But with all that being said, guys, I think it's time. Now's the time. I got a couple people on here on live. Now's the time. Y'all ready? Week 2 predictions. Week 1, I think it's fair to say Quan took week 1. I came in second, and CT brung up the rear. But let's get into these week two predictions, man. First game on the docket, the Los Angeles Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles took a bad loss to the Redskins, or to the Washington football team on last week. But is this a game where they potentially could bounce back and make something happen? But let's look at these. I gotta go. I hate this. I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Whoa! Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Even though Jared Goff looked terrible last week. I mean, he didn't look good at all.
No, you know what? Go ahead, because that is from the last segment of this show. That's what I'm talking about. But go ahead.
All right, my bad. I apologize, but I got the Rams over the Eagles.
Okay. Is there one particular reason why?
Aaron Donald. He is my preseason MVP pick, so I'm gonna just have him disrupt Carson Wentz a lot. I think that Aaron Donald and Michael Brockers will be a little bit too much. The Philadelphia Eagles are missing their starting tackle in Andre Dillard. He's out for the year, so I think Aaron Donald and Michael Brockers can really get after Carson Wentz.
All right. I'll go next. That game, I'm gonna pick the Rams as well, for all the reasons you just mentioned. You already said one of their linemen is out. They got like 3 linemen out, bro. And one of their linemen, I heard some report, we are the podcast of the West Coast, but somebody from Philly is going to have to fact check me on this. I heard somebody say that one of their starting linemen played rugby last year.
Wow.
So if that's true, Carson Wentz is in a heap of trouble, man. I really don't understand how he even stands up. He got sacked 8 times, and we're not even going to count all the pressures he had.
Right.
So yeah, we're going.
So Quan got Rams. CT, what you got?
You know what? I'm actually going to take Philly to rebound this week. I think Carson will play better. I think the defense will play better. I think that the Rams may have to rely on their run game, and I'm not sure how they really feel about it, how much they trust it.
Terrible.
Yeah, so I think that they have a shot to kind of redeem themselves. Do you know if who's their star receiver?
Who the Rams?
There we go. Is he coming back this week, or is he?
I haven't heard nothing of Alshon coming back. Miles Sanders is playing though.
Yeah, that having him back is going to be huge for that run game and alleviate some of the pressure that Carson Wentz is feeling. So I think that I'm gonna go with the Eagles on this one.
All right, got the Lone Wolf. CT the Lone Wolf taking the Eagles, but we got my man Juan coming in. Juan got the Rams. And then
somebody
we have
hating on me. Somebody Miles. Hating on
me. Miles has the Rams as well. So we got Pat, Quan, Miles, and Juan with the Rams, and then CT will take the Eagles. Next up, 49ers Jets. Niners bounce back, hopefully. I gotta think that the Niners are bounced back. Kawhi Alexander needs to show up. He did not show up last week. He was actually probably one of the worst linebackers on the field last week. But I'm gonna go ahead on and take the 49ers over the Jets on this one, man.
Yeah, I definitely take the Niners on this one. Don't really like what I see from the receiving core in New York. Don't really like what I see from Darnold. I thought he'd be a lot better, but I also don't think, if we dove in at some point, I don't really think it's all his fault. I think Gase isn't a great head coach. I think it's starting to get proven. He was a good offensive mind, but him running the team is a completely different dynamic. Le'Veon Bell out this week. Frank Gore in. Excited about that, to be able to see
Frank Gore starting.
There you go. So excited to see my guy. That's my guy. If you know me and my 49er love, that's my dude. So I'm excited to see him. But other than that, I think it'll be a nice win for the Niners. and really just win the game and get the heck out of there type of situation.
Hey, no cap. Before you go, Quan, definitely feel like this could potentially be a must win for the Niners.
No, it is.
It's definitely a must win, and I hate to
Already?
say that at week 2. At week 2, this is a must win for the Niners. The Niners dropped to the Jets this early. We got trouble in paradise. Quan, who you got? 49ers or Jets?
I'm gonna pick the Niners. We're all gonna stay here. I really don't, but I just don't see any way that the Jets can win because the Jets O line has Philly O line problems.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm gonna stick with the crowd on this one.
Right. Miles says 49ers, but the Jets are going to play them hard. I agree. I agree. Jets are going to play them hard. The one thing that this could be is a great time and opportunity for Jimmy G to bounce back because, as you all know, there's no more Jamal Adams back there. You know what I mean? So I would pick on that safety crew back there. Next up, man, we got Washington, the Washington football team versus the Arizona Cardinals. Cards. I'm gonna just go. Washington played a heck of a game last week against Philly. Philly lost that game. The Washington and sidebar. Never mind. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for my rant. But anyway, Washington football team is gonna take an L. Arizona Cardinals will win this game. Too much Kyler Murray. Too much DeAndre Hopkins. Just too much. Quan, what you got?
We're gonna go Cards here. He just showed how the Cardinals just showed how to be a defensive line fully loaded with talent like the Niners. Because the Redskins, my God, we all messing up today. The Washington football team has a loaded D line. So more Kyler Murray rushing yards this week for sure.
For sure. CT, what you got?
Do you want to hear what I want to happen or what needs to happen?
Either way it go. And fans, y'all give me something in these comments too. Who y'all got, Washington or Arizona? Go ahead. I'm sorry, CT.
Arizona Cardinals for sure. I think Washington will play them tough. I think there is a little bit of confidence that's going on. I don't trust them offensively. We got to see Haskins develop and continue to use his weapons. Don't really know about their running game. They got some young bucks there that, who knows? I think they should have kept AP personally. But the Cardinals will probably run over. No lie.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I think that's for sure. And I did not like the way the Cardinals, after that win on Sunday, you would have thought they won the Super Bowl. The boys was all on that field screaming and doing way too much. So they're going to win, though. My game of the week. Summer League champions for sure. My game of the week next game up, Patriots versus the Seahawks. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Dang. Sheesh. Come on with it. I'm gonna go with Cam. Whoa, Cam. Voice a little cracky today, but I'm definitely going with my man Cam Newton, man. I want Cam. I think the Seahawks are gonna win, but I want Cam Newton to get this done.
So you're picking heart over brain here.
I'm picking heart over brain. I want Cam to win. I think that you'll see a big game from the Patriots receivers. I don't think that the Cardinals DBs are not that great, even though we made them look really good. But I think that those Patriots receivers, Julian Edelman, N'Keal Harry, and company, are going to have a solid game. So I'm gonna go with Patriots over the Seahawks.
See what you got.
Well, I think that's what you want to happen, not what's actually going to happen. I'm taking Seattle in a fairly close game. I don't believe that they'll run away with it. I think Cam and the boys will definitely get them rolling and make it hard for them. But I do have Seattle taking this one. I think the run game wears the Patriots depleted defense down. And Russell will just sit back and throw a couple touchdown passes and call it a day.
Hey, Gilmore's still there, man.
Yeah, he's still there.
So just don't throw to that side.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think it's actually not going to be close. Unless Cam does something that we haven't seen in a while, which is just kill it through the air, I don't think this is a good matchup. I don't think that read option is going to be as effective on such experienced linebackers like Wagner and KJ Hill, and also Jamal Adams is going to be down in that box all day long, trying to be ready for that read option. So I just don't think it's a good matchup. I think it's going to be a blowout. But yeah, Hawks in general.
All right, so there we go. Lone Wolf Pat. Pat is the Lone Wolf picking the Patriots this week. Looks like Juan and Miles also took Seattle along with you two. Hey, Lone Wolf got to walk by itself every once in a while, man. So I'll take that. Hey, Cam gonna hold me down, bro. I'm already knowing Cam gonna hold me down. Broncos. Let's go over to Denver, Mile High. Broncos versus Pittsburgh. Simple. Too much juju. I'm going with the Steelers on this one. I think the Steelers are going to take down the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos are not healthy all the way yet. And Von Miller being down is going to hurt them because Ben is going to be a statue. But if he has no pressure, Ben is going to pick you apart. And James Conner in that run game, Juju and them boys on the outside. I think that I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on this one. Quan, it's on you, man.
I think Mike Tomlin really wants James Conner to be the guy, but I don't think he's the guy no more. But that's a whole nother time for another day.
Hey, what's 24 name again, bro?
Benny Snell Jr. I think he came out of either Memphis or Kentucky, right?
That boy was balling. That boy was balling last week.
Hey, he looked nice. But I'm gonna go. If AJ Bouye wouldn't have got hurt, I might have picked. This would have been my surprise pick and picked the Broncos. But I'm gonna go with the Steelers because of that. I think him being out, you're gonna have. They just activated. I want to say his name, Dante Bosby from the practice squad. So he's gonna see some action against a loaded wide receiver group for Big Ben. So I don't think this week they get it done. Although I do think Melvin Gordon will have some running opportunities because their line is not as trash as Saquon's line. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Steelers it is.
CT, what you got, baby boy?
Steelers, man. Juju, Deontay Johnson's a young receiver I like. Is it Chase Claypool? Is that his name?
Boy,
yep.
Out of Notre Dame. Boy, was that boy balling last week or what?
Shout out to my older brother Rondez, man. He loved Notre Dame Cats, so I know he's a big fan of this boy. And then Eric Ebron. I've always been a low-key fan of his athletic ability, and I feel like once he really ascends himself in this offense, he'll do well, with the compliments of Vance McDonald, who's a pretty decent player, but just doesn't give you everything. Benny Snell, dog at Kentucky. So a cat that ran in the SEC and ran wild. It's translating to the league, obviously, with what he did last week. So I'm going Pittsburgh in this one.
Awesome. Clean sweep. Everybody got Pittsburgh. I see Miles on here, Pittsburgh. Juan on here, Pittsburgh. Sadi on here, Pittsburgh. Hey, Pittsburgh gets the win, and I'm all for that. Let's go over and Chiefs Chargers. Chiefs offense way too much. They proved they're the best offense in football. Not even a game. I'm going complete blowout. I'm going 42-14 Kansas City.
Ooh. Go. I'm picking Chiefs, but not in a blowout. But I am picking the Chiefs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, CT's guy, is going to put Denzel Perryman and first-round pick Kenneth Murray to work, catching out the backfield. So I'll go Chiefs.
Simple.
Chiefs as well. I'll make it a little closer, though. Say 28-10. Something like that.
I'll make it a little closer, though. 28-10.
Yeah, I believe that the run game will
shout out to the old lady picking the Chiefs.
Man, do good things for their balance. Mahomes ain't going to have to do too much. I do believe that the receiving group for San Diego will kind of come alive a little bit, but not enough to take over the game. So Chiefs all the way.
Clean sweep. Kansas City takes that. Hey, here we go. This is that beef talk we about to talk. Hey, talk your talk, Quan. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let you go first, Quan. Talk your talk because he's on here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go back to the initial statement that was made that could potentially have caught your eye. And I don't know. Nah, okay, I can't even go back to it. I'm gonna let it rock. Quan, floor on you. Saints Raiders. Who you got?
Are we going with the upset alert, baby? We going with the upset alert. We going with the Raiders, man. And I'm gonna tell you why. Mees, don't be mad at me for what I'm about to say. Because this is not a popular opinion. I'm just going off what my eyes have been looking at. Does Drew Brees threaten anybody down the field? Yes or no? You two.
Yeah.
I think so.
We'll agree to disagree. Drew Brees does a lot of check downs, a lot of short things, kind of like what I get mad about Derek Carr doing. So this is what I'm gonna say. If we can generate pressure, then I think we might have a way to steal this game from the Saints. If we don't get no pressure, it will not be a good day. I think we'll be able to, if we can get some pressure and make it hard for Brees, we can maybe pull off an upset here. I think this is a good week that Marshawn Lattimore may get humbled a bit. And Ruggs is going to have to just take him down. Even if we don't catch it, just take him out the way, see what we can do. Because Brees' best offense, Thomas is not going to be there, right? Michael Thomas. So I think he's going to key on, what's the tight end name? Jared Cook, right? Mm-hmm. Who came from the Raiders. And Gruden already came out today in a press conference saying, we had Cook. I know how dangerous he is. And our most dangerous weapon is our tight end. So it's going to be, honestly, the offense is going to look just the same. Throws to the tight ends and check down to the running back. So whoever can make a big play here or there, a turnover, is going to get the win. Everyone's saying Saints, but I'm telling you, don't let me be right. Don't let me be right.
CT, it's on you, man. I'm gonna go last on this one.
Saints. It will be a closer game. It actually might be a shootout. It may come down to what defense is going to make a stop, and I trust the Saints defense a little bit more than I trust the Raiders at this juncture. It could change, who knows?
That's fair.
But I'm going with the Saints on this one. I'll keep it simple.
Going with the Saints on that one. That's good. They say Miles is screaming at the screen. He about to scream some more. This is my thing. Okay, if Josh Jacobs can get upwards of 25 carries, if he can be between 25 and 30 carries, I'm gonna go with the Raiders in this one. The reason being is that if Josh Jacobs' running ability has the ability to keep Drew Brees and that offense off of the field, if they can extend drives, if they can eat up that clock, because we know that the Saints have such an explosive offense that if you're able to put them on the sideline for any extended period of time, you can put them in a position where they have to fight back from behind. And without Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders is a hell of a receiver. I just know it's different without can't guard Mike in that lineup. I think that
and he barely saw the field too.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is that I am going to hedge my bets here. If Josh Jacobs is in between 25 to 30 carries, I'll go Raiders. If he's under 25 carries, it's going to be the Saints. The Saints have to make sure that they keep him off of the field. I think Josh Jacobs is a really good ball player. I think Darren Waller's pretty good. If Henry Ruggs can really show up in this game, this can be a good game. I think this can be a better game than what a lot of people are thinking. So
and that's the last time the Raiders played the Saints, we got the dub too. So I mean, you remember Crabtree in the corner in the end zone? You remember? Yeah.
That was nice. Yep.
He who will remain lamest. Miles brought up a really good stat. Brees is the number one quarterback throwing the ball over 20 yards of all time. Just saying, Quan. #stats.
That is a crazy fact, and I'll give you that. I did not know that, but I don't see. But when I watched the game, especially the game y'all just played, I didn't see none of that. But I digress.
So that's where I'm at with that. So 25 to 30 Raiders, 25 and under Saints. So now we get into a really cool time. I see we got a whole bunch of people on here tonight. We get on a really cool moment. It's called What's on Your Mind? What's on Your Mind? It's a chance for our field level family to come on with some questions and put some stuff in the atmosphere. And let's have a quick conversation about it. I'm sorry, y'all. This that anesthesia that they gave me yesterday got my voice all toe back. But yeah, Quan, I know you got some questions. I'm gonna turn it over to you. Throw it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, what's on your mind? We're gonna go where our first question comes from off our Twitter at 8YoungSuki. I think we all know who that is. His question is exactly. His question is, who will win the Lose for Lawrence sweepstakes? And I'm sure he's talking about Trevor Lawrence there. So, who will win? CT, we'll kick it to you first. Who's gonna win the sweepstakes?
I don't want it to be this way, but I think Jacksonville is going to win it. Keep it honest with you.
Yeah, that sucks that they're even thinking about it.
Yeah,
I seen a post yesterday or earlier today that said if Gardner Minshew would have been on Jacksonville in 2017, they would have won the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And I'm not too opposed from that. Gardner Minshew is a heck of a quarterback. Gardner Minshew can really get things done, and for them to even think about tanking to get Trevor Lawrence for me is really disrespectful. But who I'm going to say, which is going to be a pretty big surprise for a lot of people, maybe the Cleveland Browns.
That's what I was going to say. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Because I think if you put Trevor Lawrence with that squad, stupid raw. So I'm gonna go Cleveland.
I was just talking to our boy Chris earlier, and he was kind of not a well. We never really agreed, but he really wasn't feeling me saying I'm done with Baker right now. I'm done with him right now. I'm tired of we can't always. I think the reason why I'm done with him is because it's one thing when you just have coordinators coming through and coaches coming through, and you're kind of just you're just there, which that is happening to him. But he's requesting a lot of this. He's requesting his Freddie Kitchens to be the guy. He's requesting this guy to call the offense. He's requesting this guy to be the quarterback's coach. He's requesting to get all these players, and I'm going to request to get him up out of here.
No doubt.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Brown next year if they keep doing what they're doing. So that's so shout out to Saudi on that question. Our next question comes from Lil Man, my son Jay. Follow him out on Instagram at jx.31. His question is, will the 49ers bounce back after the week 1 upset? And will the loss of Richard Sherman be a huge deal in the long run? You two can answer that.
They'll bounce back, as we saw from the picks. Will the loss of Richard Sherman be a big deal in the long run? I think it won't be a big deal until that third week. We got the Jets this week. Next week we have the Giants. Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard. I don't see them posing a crazy threat. But when we get into the potential of Alshon Jeffrey and Jalen Reagor and Deshaun Jackson, like when we play Philly on that last week, that's when we're going to see or miss, I should say, Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think I look at it two ways. Yes, it affects us because he is our best defensive back, essentially, with knowledge and just what he can provide for the team. Pretty sure tackler in most cases when he squares up. When he doesn't, he's not that good at it. But, I also think this is an opportunity for the 49ers to look into what they have, what else they have. You can't depend on Sherman forever. This is his contract year. You need to decide what you want to do. So you need to see what else you have. Are you going to end up having to draft a corner? My guess is hell yes. But, there's also an opportunity for us to evaluate some of our talent that hasn't seen the same amount of snaps. So we'll see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I see Mees in there saying no because they're a zone coverage team. They don't play man. No shade, Pat CT. So right on Mees for the chime in. But that comes from Jay, and that's going to end our segment for this week on what's.
Well, no, I got another one. I got one more, brother.
Let me got one more.
Yeah, I got one more out here. It was from This Is Drew to the. It says, did Eric Armstead get his contract because of DeForest Buckner's performance, and was it worth it?
I'll start. That's my guy. He was my wedding. That's Drew. If I had to say, it definitely helped him. One, he stayed healthy, so that was a good sign. He had a presence on the field. You saw that his statistic numbers went up. put him in a good position as one of the better defensive interior linemen in the league. But yeah, I mean, obviously his job was so much easier because they had the Oregon trees. That's what they called each other, you know?
Right.
So I believe that alluded to him getting the contract that he got. But now he has that responsibility. It was one game, but we need to see more. We need to see more from him. We need to see more leadership. We need to see more dominance. And he has to set the tone. He's big enough to do it. He's strong enough to do it. So go do it.
I think when it comes to this particular issue, when people talk about was it Defo or Eric, I think you're looking at, though they're similar in size and stature, you look at two completely different players, right? Eric was more of a guy that was taking on double teams. He's grabbing. He almost plays sort of like that Justin Smith role. How Justin Smith with Alden was back in the day, where Justin would pull that second guy and Nick or Alden Smith would come free in a one-on-one and just go crazy. That's more of Eric Armstead's presence. That's more of what he brings to the squad. And I think that the thought process is that right now, for the direction that the team is trying to go with that defensive line, that becomes more paramount and more important than a solo single power rusher who is just getting to the quarterback. Because I guess they feel like you can find those guys as a dime a dozen when it's really not true. But they're hoping that Javon Kinlaw will be that guy. Quick stat on that is that Javon Kinlaw graded out as the number one D tackle, the number one rookie D tackle last week.
Hey, he was moving people though.
But so Javon Kinlaw, not only did he grade out as the number one rookie defensive tackle last week, he graded out as the number 6 overall defensive tackle last week in the NFL. So I guess we're kind of waiting to see that further play out. We'll see how that works.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Mees right here. He just I'm just gonna say the Niners lost that trade. I'm in full agreement because we talked about this at length earlier in
after week one
episodes. Look, it's one game, but but like I told y'all when we had this we had a whole podcast episode dedicated to this.
Right.
I will never agree ever with getting rid of your best players because of the age-old saying, well, you can't pay everybody. No, you don't get rid of your best players. And at the time, Buckner was the best, without Sherman, he was the best defensive player, and he was for sure the most productive defensive player you had, especially on that D-line. You can't get rid of him just because you want to pay Armstead.
I don't agree.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay because it's going to pan out. It's only one game, but it's going to pan out.
I want to ask you a question as we get ready to move. Last year, was Nick Bosa more important or DeForest Buckner?
No. We're not talking about Bosa, though. We're talking about Armstead.
No, because you said because your statement was DeForest Buckner was the best player on the D line.
Okay, well, Nick Bosa was the best player in context of this. You're right, but in context of this convo between him and Armstead, he was the better D tackle.
All good. I'll take it at that. All right, so that concludes the fan mail. What's on your mind? Yeah. I would agree with my man Juan. I don't know. Fred Warner is pretty important, and I think
has he been paid?
No, but and I think that's the kind of thing we have to understand, man, is that though you say that age-old is saying you can't pay everybody, it holds true, Quan. It's a lot of guys on that defense that have to get paid. You still, we're waiting to pay Fred Warner, who's still on the rookie contract. You got Nick Bosa, who's going to come off of that rookie contract in a year or so. You know what I mean? So there's some guys on that D-line, on that defense as a whole, that we're going to have to pay these guys coming in a little while. And we still have to have room to get better at the safety position, get better at the cornerback position. So we got to kind of hedge our money into a way where it kind of makes sense that keep those guys on those rookie contracts. But when they come off, they got to get, like, Fred Warner going to have to get paid.
Yeah.
Oh, true that. But quick question.
Sure.
Was last year when y'all paid Armstead last year, right? Or the year before?
Last year.
Yeah.
Last year. Was his contract up, or like was he in a contract year, or did he have a year left?
He was in a contract year.
He was in a contract year. So
yeah, remember he came in the year before Defo.
That's right.
This would have been Defoe's contract year, but he signed the extension to go to Indianapolis.
Who's been more productive since they've been on the team together?
Defo.
Yeah.
There it is.
But that's in the stat. Like we talk about stat line, but there's certain things that certain players do that don't impact the stat line. I feel like Eric Armstead last year was responsible for so many sacks that he didn't get the number for.
Okay,
Eric Armstead
you know what?
ate a bunch of double teams. Also, look, that's a good one. Also, to clear space to possibly keep Trent Williams, who.
Yeah, but that's he's a beast. But that problem became this year when the problem was before with Defoe. He was the better player. Would you say then, CT? Since Pat is saying sometimes players make big impact, but they're not in the stat line. But when I ask you straight up, who was the better player? If you say Defoe, then it should be no more debate, right?
I think Defoe is the better player. I think Armstead, excuse me, has a different skill set where he could be more productive if he had the right pieces around him. So if you were getting what you wanted with DJ Jones, for instance, if he played the way that I've seen him play, if you look at the game Seattle last year, he dogged their offensive lineman. If you get that consistently, then Eric Armstead's a Pro Bowler, right? It just depends on what he has next to him and the consistency that's there. And then obviously you got to see how the edge rushers, the Nick Bosa's, the D4s also perform. Ronnie Blair coming back. People slip on Ronnie Blair. Ronnie Blair made a lot of money.
Hey, Ronald Blair is going to be the reason why D4 can kick rocks.
Oh,
straight up.
Yeah, that dude is just as important as damn near anybody on that line. To be real with you, he's a big deal.
No facts.
I never let him go.
This dude CT always coming out with the Madden GM mode. I can't deal with it. Hey, as we get ready to close tonight, man. Tonight we're gonna have a quick little rant session, man. Talk about what we hated, or what we not really happy with that's going on in NFL Week 1 or whatever the case may be. Quan, I know you said you had a couple things you wanted to hop on, so I'm gonna just throw it over to you right quick. You're gonna throw it over to CT, and I'm gonna finish it all up, man. So let's get on it.
I only got one. I don't understand the hate for or all the criticism coming towards Jimmy G, but more so Jared Goff, man. People really don't like Jared Goff, and I don't understand it when. Okay, I can't. He's a skinny Johnny Bravo,
Yeah.
But I just can't understand the hate that he gets when he just led the team to the bowl 2 years ago. You could say he wasn't the reason that they got there, but he led them there. He controlled a high-powered offense. Do we not remember? Do we not remember when they played the Chiefs and he put up, it was what, a 50-50 game, something like that? So I don't understand all the criticism he gets week in and week out. I really don't understand it. That's my rant. I need some of these Ram fans on our Twitter and Instagram to let me know why, because I don't understand.
Man, CT, it's on you, man. Ran it away.
I'm not going to speak on what happened on the field. I'm going to speak of what happened off the field. Not really happy that Eric Reid is not on an NFL roster. When he was with the 49ers, he was a Pro Bowler. You watch him when he played for Carolina last year. He actually played really well. With his skill set kind of being a hybrid of mine kind of moving to like an outside linebacker. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it was a need at the time. Navarro was down, but with his safety play, with that combination, he's a valuable piece and he's still young enough to make an impact. So the fact that, essentially he's being blackballed is a problem for me. And as somebody I enjoy watching him play, his little brother's pretty damn good. Justin Reed and his big brother Eric should be in the league. So I'm hoping and praying that he has an opportunity. I mean, there's practice squad opportunities right now for vets. Like, get this cat on the roster, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I just don't know if E. Reed taking a practice squad spot. But I definitely agree with you. Got to be in the league. Did some really good things in Carolina last year. My rant is this, and we're closing up on this, man. Mr. Snyder over in Washington came out today and said there's serious consideration for them to stick with the Washington football team.
Knock it off. For real?
He said no mascot necessary. We're just going to be the Washington football team. When he said that, I said, you got to be kidding me, bro. Like, are you serious? You really about to just X out all the mascots and the Red Tails, the Wolverines, whatever y'all was, and you gonna stick with the Washington football team? Terrible. Half past.
He's
terrible.
caught up in the moment. He's caught up in the moment because they won a game. Once they start losing, he'll pick a name.
Whatever he is, whatever moment he caught in, he got to get up out of there. But man, that's all tonight, man. That's all for what we got tonight, man. The Washington football team. Shout out to them. Keep it going, man. Washington football team. We rock with y'all. Follow us on Instagram, as you can see on the bottom ticker. Follow us on Instagram at The Field Level. Follow us on Twitter at The Field Level 1. Also, catch us on all podcast streaming platforms. If you don't want to watch the video, but you just want to listen to what the boys is talking about, go ahead on and get on Spotify or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. Wherever you want to go, you're going to find us. We're going to be there, all right? Also, as you see this down there, right there, click that subscribe button. Then also hit the notification button to make sure you're catching all the latest content of The Field Level. I'm Pat. That's Quan. That's CT. We out of here for another great episode of The Field Level.